Aki, and tonight we're joined by Aki playing Emil and Ghost playing Terry. And for those few of you who are continuing to watch, we will be taking a bit of a hiatus for now, or maybe a couple months on this game, but there will be, at least in terms of the full cast, but if we can make some time, I'm sure there will be small bits here and there, either of one or two characters, similar to what we're doing tonight, as it seems everyone has separated away from each other. But as such, that is what happens with some games like this, to make sure, as I don't want to railroad my players into doing exactly what I want. Hint, hint, people. But anyway, we're going to get started. But as always, viewer discretion is advised, as there's some bad shit that we go into. But we'll begin. And Terry departs from the graveyard after his visit with Jessie. She had informed Terry that her body was not at the cemetery after all. She didn't know where she'd been buried, however. Terry did notice a man looking at him, a man who introduced himself by the name of Dylan. Terry had a sneaking suspicion about the man and decided to keep a careful watch when he departed from the cemetery. A car followed behind Terry's, driving out from the cemetery and following him 2 car lengths back. They did not continue to follow him, however, as he made a third right turn. With the tail shook, or so it seemed, Terry continued to drive to Jessie's old basement apartment here in San Francisco. Emil, on the other hand, found himself in a very strange place. It smelled of sulfur and rot. The black liquid around his ankles was thick and almost pulled back at him as he moved. The leafless trees around had what looked like dark veins running up the roots. They lightly pulsated as the liquid from a tar-like substance beneath him was consumed by the trees. Yellowed clouds covered up the skies, only a sickly haze of sunlight streamed through. And someone climbed up onto the side of the tree because he heard a rattling of chains coming closer and closer. A wheezing of breath was heard as a creature came into eyesight. But for now we go to Terry as he drives to Jessie's old home. And darkness comes as he pulls up outside the small apartment. And Terry, as you arrive, you've never been to this place. Jessie never lived here when you knew her. The apartment was kind of a standalone house, very narrow. It had 3 separate mailboxes. The main front door, it had 2, labeled 2 and 3 respectively. And then slightly downwards, down a little bit of stairs, attached to the house, you see there's another door, labeled 3, over top of the mailbox. This leading into what looks like is a basement apartment. And as you look to that, a darkness creeping in around you, only the idle sounds of passing cars going by. What do you do?
So Terry, being cognizant that someone might be living here now, he brings up his phone and he does a quick search to see if he can get any information on the person who owns the building, just so he might be able to come up with something to get entry to the house.
Why don't you make me an investigate check, Terry?
Good. Oh, good.
You can't seem... Actually, So, you may get information some way if you want. Maybe you find the name of the landlord who owns this place, but there's no email attached. There's only a phone number. Do you want to call him?
No, what's the name?
It's James Thompson. That's the name.
Okay. So, Terry will go ahead, and he'll have his camera with him actually, and he'll head towards the apartment that he understands to have been Jessie's, and he'll knock on the door.
You knock on the door and you listen for a few moments and you don't hear anyone behind. You don't see any lights at all streaming out from the door itself. There's a small window kind of where the door is, but there's bars on it, as well as the window that leads to the outside. It looks very narrow. Maybe you could squeeze your upper body into it. You tried, but it also does have bars on the outside.
Is the door barred as well?
Only the small window.
Okay.
That's like that kind of almost like half like basically what the sun would look like if it was on the edge of a horizon, like that.
He'll test the door to see if it's unlocked first, because he's not looking at the neighborhood. He doesn't think it is, but he might as well.
So you test the door. You do find that it is locked.
He'll try knocking one more time, and then if he gets no response, he's just gonna go ahead and try to break in.
You knock again. Still you wait. There's no response. All you hear is the cars idly passing behind you, driving down the road.
Yeah, he'll look left to right, and then he will go ahead and try to give it his shoulder a bit. Might go to his car and get a crowbar if it seems like the door is rather heavy.
Why do you make me an act under pressure roll, Terry? As you're trying to jimmy open the door, you're able to jiggle the handle enough, maybe even use maybe a bobby pin from someone that you had been with, kept it around, and you're able to get the door open. And when you do, as you open the door, do you turn the light at all?
He would try to before it goes in, yeah.
You turn on the light. It takes a moment to flicker on, and there's this kind of sickly yellow haze. It's coming from the lights. Obvious they haven't been changed in a while. Maybe a smoker lived in here before. See, the walls look almost oily. As the light turns on, you see there's like a black mass that is near the front here, and it scatters as you see cockroaches just kind of sprint off in all different directions, crawling into different crevices and under things as the light instantly flickers on, showing them where they are. You come into this home. The smell is, it's just dank and musty. Like something wet has been left on the floor for a very, very long time. And probably a great many other things.
Yeah, so he'll come in and he'll kind of call into the home, not expecting a response, and hello, anybody home? And wait a second. If there's no response, he does go in.
You hear nothing as you go inside. Just probably shutting the door behind you. Yeah.
Sure.
You shut the door behind you and head down, going further into the home. You see there's the odd piece of furniture that's around. You see like a wire bed frame with a mattress that has a it's half covered in sheet. They look like an off-white, definitely stained by sweat, other bodily fluids. Like the person hasn't taken them off to wash them in quite a while, even staining down into the mattress itself. You see there's an old red couch that's there. The shoulders, the arms of the couch chewed up, maybe by what you think is mice. Some of the inside the foam has been ripped out, some of it poking up and out of the different holes that are on the couch itself.
Yeah, so he's looking around and he's taking pictures of things that look out of place, and he's kind of looking around. He's like, all right, tell me something. Tell me what happened. And he's kind of looking around and trying to find things that are out of place. Maybe even if there's anything left over, if there was an actual crime scene here, then he would try to like maybe find the tape or the chalk outline, whatever, that whatever indicates maybe where she died. I know it was like the bathroom, so he'd probably start there and go into the bathroom.
Okay.
With no doubt all the roaches that are festering where a corpse used to be.
You turn on the light and it is fairly disgusting in this bathroom as well. Still that yellowish glow from the single light bulb that sits in here. Shattered mirror, looks like someone had punched it. And you see the bathtub has kind of these brownish, reddish stains, both on the inside and on the lip to the outside of the bath. The shower curtain is molded, rotted, certain parts of it chewed off. And of course, as you turn on the light, you again see kind of the scattering of the shadowy mass that you think is cockroaches. And as you step into here, I'd like you to make me a see through the illusion check. Oh boy. So as you kind of stand inside there, you stand inside the bathroom. As you look around, you hear what sounds like the door outside closing, like someone had opened it and closed it. And then you hear a voice. Sounds like Jessie's. You hear, "I'm home."
He's like, oh fuck. And knowing that Jessie likes to play her games, or thinking this is another one of those, he kind of peeks out to the hallway and has the camera up and he looks out there.
As you peek out into the hallway and you notice that everything looks a bit bigger, almost. Everything seems like it's towering above you. As you look around, tables are large, couch is huge, everything seems in a lot better repair. It's still not the best place to live, but the walls are a lot cleaner. Everything looks a bit more pristine. The bed looks made. And you hear what sounds like heavy, heavy footsteps. And you look up and you see Jessie is just towering above you. And she looks down at you and with a bit of a confused face, and she just says, "How'd you get out of your?" And she reaches down and picks you up, and I want you to make me a keep it together as you realize you are very, very small and probably a baby. So how are you, describe how you're able to keep yourself together as everything is just very Alice in Wonderland for you right now.
Yeah, so stepping out, I mean, it looks bizarre, like falling down the rabbit hole, and he just looks around for a moment and almost goes to hide when Jessie sees him and grabs him. And like when he's looking down, does he see like baby hands and shit like that, or am I just dressed as I normally am, just very tiny?
Oh, you look down and you see baby hands.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what he should say, and he actually wouldn't, like, maybe he's meant to see something like this is what he's thinking. You know, maybe this is Jessie again trying to show him something in her own very vicious way. And so he will play along with the chorus to see how this plays out. Um, Not that he really has much choice in the matter.
She cares for you, and you see that she puts you back into... You notice there's this crib at the side. It's fairly sweet. It's a bluish teal color that she puts you down in. And through the bars, she pats you on the head and says, um, Mommy's gonna take a bath. Just give me one moment. And she gives you a kiss on the head, and she walks over to the bathroom. She leaves the door open, and you can hear the water running. As that happens, there's this furious pounding at the door. Jessie kind of looks up, and you see from where you are, there's just this knowing horror on her face. And you see she runs to the door. She picks something up. It looks like a bat. She takes it into her hands. And she's running for the door. Out in the hallway, you hear a door get flinged open and a scream from her. And you see two cloaked figures as they enter, grabbing Jessie as she screams. And you see they just start wailing on her, beating her as you are trapped in this sort of crib, almost unable to do anything. They drag her unconscious into the bathtub. The water's still running. They close the door slightly. As that happens, you just hear the water running. And from beneath the door, eventually you see water coming out. Then it starts to turn darker and darker red as it runs out from beneath the crack in the bathroom door. And you can hear crying, just high-pitched whining and crying, and you realize it's coming from you. And as you stare at the door, men come out. They leave, leaving you behind. What do you do as you're kind of left, or what do you think as you're kind of left alone here, hearing this sort of whining in your ear, seeing just the water come pouring in?
Just freaking out and realizing that there's nothing I can do. Terry's trying to remember anything he can about the cloaked figures, faces, anything he might have seen that, a baby certainly couldn't remember or know to remember, but him being where he is seeing it from the baby's perspective, maybe. identifying features, anything that he can remember from the cloaked people to help him find some way to figure it out.
Why don't you make me an observe a situation roll? Wow. Well, you do recognize well, you don't recognize the people, but you do see their faces as they come out of the bath. Oh, he's small. As they kind of walk out, if there's anything else you want to ask.
I guess if I would pose what is being hidden from me, if there's something that maybe something that seems important, what I can see right now, other than than those men. Like Terry's gonna commit the faces to memory, but is there something I'm seeing in this room, or something that I've seen over the course of being this baby that is being hidden from me? Something I feel like maybe I have like a sense about it that I need to be aware of it.
You don't notice anything as they leave. As time passes on, there's quite a bit of time that passes on. It feels like hours, and you almost feel yourself. It just seems like you're starting to kind of fade. But as you're lying there, the crying stops, it turns more into whimpering. The water still runs out of the bath into the room. You can actually see now as you look back over, there's a slight crack in the doorway. You see Jessie there, her neck exposed. You can see her throat's been slit as well as her wrists. Her eyes plastered open. And as you kind of lie there, there's someone else who you see come. He comes in with another gentleman. These are separate from the other two. One comes over to you, and you can clearly see his face. He looks down on you with a bit of a smile. Another gentleman comes in and goes into the bathroom. And who's above you, he smiles very slightly and picks you up and looks. Don't worry. We'll take care of you. He cradles you in one arm, and you can see the other gentleman is looking down towards the bottom. And as he does so, as the gentleman carrying you is leaving, you see two other police officers come in to the buildings. You hear speaking in the house itself. Very faint words are exchanged. And the police just pass by you again and leave as he seems to be waiting on a curb with you in his arms, bouncing you slightly. And a car pulls up outside of the house. Yeah, very nice, those Lincolns. And your vision kind of fades at this as he gets inside. And when you kind of blink, you are back to yourself in here. But there was definitely a pendant on the one gentleman that was holding you. His lapel. It was just two initials that said just O and then a smaller O and then a B. And kind of this very fancy crest.
Okay. So Terry commits the faces to memory and the crest and kind of grabs his head. Oh, fuck. Okay. And he'll walk out of the bathroom carefully and
As you kind of come to blink, you've noticed that you've actually turned the water on, and there's just this rusty colored water that's kind of spraying out of it at this uncontrolled amount. It's high pressure, low pressure, medium pressure. It just fluctuates, and the bath is half full.
oh, I turn that off. Ah, fuck, and he goes for the knobs.
As you turn it off, here outside, it sounds like keys being jingled.
Oof. So he thinks on what he's gonna say, and he kind of plays with it in his head. But he's gonna try to be taking photos and play this off as best he can. So he's not going to hide or anything. He's actually going to be out, to try to move out into the hallway area and snap his photos, be very obvious actually, if he can be.
As you move into the hallway and you get there snapping photos, you stop as you see a gentleman come inside. And he looks confused as he sees you. He's wearing this kind of white wife beater that has stains on it, ripped jeans. You can see the wife beater is not long enough to cover his large gut. His hair looks oily, his face greasy. You see he's carrying something under his left arm. As he sees you, he puts his keys away. And he looks, narrows his eyes a bit towards you. Hey, what you doing in my house there?
And Terry stops with the photos. Oh shit. Oh man, I'm sorry. Listen, the door was unlocked. I thought this was a derelict, man. I'm just a photographer.
He narrows his eyes, and I want you to make me an observe a situation roll. Oh. So do you want to ask any of those two questions?
Yes.
Or do you want me to do,
What should I be on the lookout for?
You see, kind of on his back, you do see there's an aluminum bat, and you notice there's kind of like these dark smudges that are on it. And you see underneath that left arm of his, it looks like a very tiny body.
What can I use to my advantage?
Any of the furniture that's around.
Okay.
There's like a pipe that you could probably rip out of the wall.
So I'm gonna see his response, and that's gonna dictate what I do.
You see that he smiles a bit. He drops the thing that's under his left arm onto the ground, and it just lands with just this sick thud onto the floor, making you wince a bit. He reaches towards his back and scratching a bit and looks at you. Yeah, this ain't no derelict place, man. What you actually doing here? You a cop?
No, no way. Look, like I said, man, I just thought this place was derelict. It didn't look like anybody was living here. I'm not interested in what you're doing. If you don't mind, I can just leave. I didn't see you. You didn't see me.
How about, you go into the other room there and I'll make you some coffee, huh?
I don't think that we should get to know each other all that well, my man, and kind of nod towards the body.
I think we should get to know each other plenty. He grabs the baseball bat that's behind him, kind of looks to you, waiting to see what you're going to do.
Really don't want to do this today, man. All I need to do is take some pictures. It's not with the cops. I don't care what you're doing. Just let me leave, and you can keep on doing it.
No, man, I can't let you leave. Not yet, anyway. Just go in the other room there.
Not yet. What are you planning on doing?
Oh, well, I'm just gonna have a new friend over for, a bit of coffee, some good quality time together. And you get that familiar feeling about him sizing you up.
Yeah, I'm gonna rest my hand on a pipe that's kind of hanging half-hazard on the wall. And like I said, man, don't want to do this today.
We can do this the fun way then. And he removes the bat from his back. And he's going to come at you with it. And swing at you.
Okay.
Why? Go ahead.
Definitely gonna try to grab pipe, but mainly gonna try to shoulder check him and get by him. I'm not interested in fighting in a hallway against this guy.
Why don't you make me an act under pressure roll? He's a big dude.
Yeah,
He's shaking
I'm
that
Terry's
marsh
just
the
trying to
whole way.
run, basically. He's just gonna try to get one up and get past them. And not do it. And not do it.
All right. Ooh, that's really bad. As you're trying to shoulder check him, you don't grab the pipe. You feel the bat come down on your wrist. You don't know if it's broken, as the pain just sears through you. And you feel as you're kind of reeling back. He's just pressing in towards you. And really before anything, you feel the bat come down upon your head, and the camera pans to Emil.
Oh my. So before he gets chain whipped or whatever is about to happen, um, I have to roll my thing. I know I rolled a 3 last time and never ended up having a chance to use it, but I don't know if you want me to like just
Roll
use
your
that or
no,
yeah,
roll your thing now.
I thought so. Let me see. Found another 18. It doesn't matter.
That's pretty good.
And then did I have anything else? No, that should be it.
All right, so you. I'm gonna see. Give me one moment because I have better music than this. I'm gonna see these bots if they work.
Alrighty.
I hope it turned down for you there, Aki.
Hmm?
I hope it's turned down for you there, Aki. Can you hear them?
You got something playing?
Mm-hmm.
I might have to turn it up, actually. Adjust it down for the old headset. Can you talk real quick?
Yep.
Okay,
Can you
should be
hear?
perfect.
All right. So as you see this thing just lurching over on this, looks like a dry path, and you're up here basically, kind of
Yeah, he's
hanging
kind
out
of
up
trying to
here.
tuck into the tree a bit as he watches the thing, trying to keep pretty hidden like he was before.
You see it, you hear it wheezing as you hear the chain clank and drag, the metal of the spikes that are embedded in its legs, its chest, scrape against each other as it walks with almost a bow-leggedness around. And it seems to be swinging its head left and right. You see it's contained within this spiked box, blood slowly dripping and draining from it. And looks to be looking for something.
Hmm. Let me see. I think I had another thing I might want to use in this case. Oh, that's a cult library. Yeah, I don't. I mean, he could try and pull his phone out here, but I don't think that's a good idea. And he said it was looking around.
It seems like it's trying to find something. Like it's swinging its head, kind of like a blind animal almost, just left and right, almost like it's trying to hear.
Yeah, Emil stays stock still as he kind of watches the thing, um, very carefully. Again, trying to kind of stick in as close to the tree, into the little hollow in it as best he can. Uh, just watching and waiting. Um, does he get the feeling the thing can't quite see, judging from the way it's like trying to turn its head in here almost
You
with the
think,
cage on there?
you think so.
Yeah, so he, rather than worrying about hiding as much, he just sticks stock still, just barely moving, maintaining his breath really, really slow, light, just watching the thing and waiting to see what it does.
As you sit there and wait, you see it actually, it's not exactly going towards you, but it slowly starts descending down into these swampy, almost tar pits. You can see it slowly entering. It's starting to sink down deeper into this blackish, thick waters.
That's terrible. Um,
Yeah, it's about up to its waist now, as it seems to be just entering this pool. You can't see anything lower as it enters this dark liquid.
hmm. Yeah, he again, hoping that it can't see him somehow or otherwise, keeps stock still, kind of trying to maintain his breathing and keep the pounding of his heart regulated. All the while, kind of the questions of where the hell he is, what the fuck this thing is, all just tearing through his brain at breakneck pace.
It eventually is completely consumed by this. And you just see a little bubble come up. It's very slow as it does, and it bursts at the top. And then you see everything below you is still and silent.
Alrighty. Well, I think... I assume he has, like, just some, like, everyday type stuff, like pocket change, crap like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of digs through his pocket very carefully, and pulls out like several pennies and a dime and kind of takes those and kind of goes for over to the side away from him where the thing was. And rather than like throwing them hard, he kind of tries to go for a nice arc so they land flat down rather than feeling like they impact, right? He wants to make it seem like they fell from this tree almost. Like, kind of goes for that real high arch that they kind of plop in. As he kind of tosses them up and over.
You toss them up and over and they land flat down onto the pit liquid. And you see they're slowly swallowed up by it. It just seems to almost envelop it and pull it down.
Yeah. Now, before, when he was in the goo, the area he was standing, he was able to kind of maneuver over up to here without sinking all the way down in. But this thing, did it look like it just walked almost? Or did it like just sink slowly downward?
It was walking, but it was sinking as it was walking.
So as if it were walking down into a deeper part, almost.
It's what it seemed like to you, but you
Seemed
can
like
make me
that, of course.
an observe a situation if you want.
Sure, that makes sense. Looky, looky. Ooh.
What would you like to ask?
Oh, man. What should I be on the lookout for?
You think you should be on the lookout for any of those bubbles that come up, as you assume that might be kind of to signal where it is. Yeah, you eventually see one right over here where you see those pennies, but you don't see it, you just see a bubble slowly burst to the top.
And then he kind of looks around, assessing the trees, assessing the goop, and looking towards that kind of higher area. And sadly, I think his question is going to have to be, what is my best way through this? As he tries to figure a path over to the high ground.
You think maybe if you keep trying to distract it through other means of throwing things that you could get through, or maybe you could call upon the help of your companion.
Yeah. He thinks it over and considers the options, and his curiosity, kind of more so than anything, gets the best of him, as not just does he want to escape this, but he wants to know what the hell is going on in particular, and he figures there's only one person he can ask right now. He's not going to bother checking his phone's bars. He has an assumption on how that is. As, I'll use one of my 3 things to call on the entity as he reaches his mind out towards it. Unless I can just do that baseline and call on the entity, would be more so like the hell hand transformation type shit.
No. I would say this would be
Okay.
to call on it, as it seems fairly dormant right now.
Yeah, makes sense.
You get almost this... just feels like this very weakened response, almost, as it speaks to you.
Might you say it's almost like there's a distance or like a resistance to it?
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of distance.
Like bad reception. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Yeah, so he kind of reaches his mind out towards it again.
You feel the sight in your right eye again dim. In your right hand, you see that kind of part in your palm open up, and a very... instead of it being an eye this time, you see it's a mouth. It comes with these very small, very sharp teeth. And it doesn't move as it speaks to you. It just kind of looks almost listless. You hear it again, speak in your mind. Why are you here, Emilius?
Hey, and he kind of, again, reaches out with his mind rather than actually speaking, out of caution. Hey, man, I don't really know. I mean, I was trying to use some, the power, and, I ended up here.
This
Uh,
is not a good place, Emilius.
well, I had a feeling. There's a weird chain lady in the goop, like the tar or whatever it is. She seems like she's looking for stuff, and I got a bad feeling that's me. So I don't know.
You see the mouth fade and you see an eye spin into your hand. You see your hand twist without you doing anything as it looks out into the area, almost like if it's scanning.
And Emil points out to where the last bubble he saw was. Kind of stretches out through his mind. Yeah, it was like, oh, it come up from that high ground there. I mean, as far as I can tell, like, my only hope is, like, distracted or something. I mean, I can't get through that goop.
Kind of looks around and looks down. Emilius, I can use some of what I have to help you depart from here. But it will cost you in the future.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of in deep shit, aren't I? I mean, I don't think I'm gonna have a good way out of this either way. You?
You could attempt to run, but you will most likely be caught. Even if you hop from tree to tree, a Razide will most likely pull you under.
The what?
Uh, it is what we call a Razide. They are slaves to the entities that rule over where you are.
And, I mean, if you don't mind answering, where the hell am I? So that I can not go here again?
This place pulls you in sometimes. It is what is called Inferno. A place one such as I do not go.
And Emil's eyes beneath the sunglasses kind of grow wide, and a kind of cold sweat almost begins to break out as he thinks over Wolf's journal entries and all that. The terrible, terrible shit that the guy went through when he got dragged into Inferno by the Order of Bosk and everything. And, oh, fuck. And I believe they'll also thirst for knowledge triggers, yes?
It would, but as you kind of are realizing this too, so you do gain stability back, but I do want you to make me keep it together, Chad.
It makes sense, yes, exactly. Yeah, because he now realizes, oh, I'm basically in hell. Literally.
Yes.
As he's kind of like very concerned about that. But he knows he's got a buddy who can get him out. And also he learned new things.
You did. Emilius, what I want you to do is into the liquid below. Take your right wrist and slit it very lightly so blood comes out. Drip it into the waters and then go in.
Okay, I think I can do that. You want to go ahead and like do the claw thing and like the other hand so I can, I mean, I don't have a knife on me.
Use your teeth, Emilius.
Shit. Alright, fine. And he kind of gets his wrist very up close to his mouth as he kind of gets the canine out as best he can up against it and presses down towards the vein just to tear it just so.
Takes your bit and just hurts quite a bit. Especially, it's hard to self-inflict this wound.
I mean, yeah, I just looked at it myself and I'm like, this is a terrible fucking angle even.
Yep,
Like you have to like grab your other hand and like twist the wrist up and everything. It's like really uncomfortable just that alone. And I imagine actually trying to get the pinch that you would need to be able to rip it open is
it's
not
even
comfortable either.
yeah, it's even to try and train yourself to do it. So it's kind of a natural um,
It's
way that
almost
we
like you're not
don't.
supposed to bite your wrists open.
Yeah, almost. But you eventually, after twisting and turning your wrist, just groaning and just a bit of just irritation, pain, discomfort, annoyance. Finally, and you feel that sharp pinch, the pain as you finally just tear open your wrist with your canine, blood spilling into your mouth as you do so.
Yeah, there's a pretty big wince as he was already in a lot of pain, and that's kind of the sharpness finally come as he very quickly like glances over the area again, watching for those bubbles as he pushes his wrist out and kind of almost shakes it downward to kind of try and get the blood out as if it would come out faster into the liquid. Um, is it good? Is it good?
Yes, yes. Step into it.
He kind of gets his hands down underneath him. The kind of groan of pain as he presses down with his right palm against the wood, and more blood kind of spurts from the wound as he drops himself down in directly into the little patch of blood amongst the terrible tar.
As you do so, you start to feel, after a moment, what feels like hands on your legs, and kind of this sharp prickling feeling as they slowly start to make their way up your legs, and you feel yourself sinking, sinking. And from the area where you threw those pennies, you see spring up from beneath that blackness. You see it as it's coming closer and closer towards you. And eventually you feel hands on your wrist as they start pulling you down. You're feeling yourself sinking deeper and deeper as this thing is, it's just inching closer and closer. It seems to be getting taller as it walks faster towards you.
Does it seem like he's going to get out in time, or is it closing
Well,
too quickly?
it's closing fairly quickly, and you feel the hands, and you see kind of these blackened hands like grabbing onto your shirt and pulling you down, like just as you're slowly sinking as it's getting closer. But do you do anything?
Yeah, there's this terrible mix of caution and concern and intrigue at the same time as usual with Twisted fucking mind as he sees the thing getting close and is no longer willing to risk it as he kind of pulls at that source of inner power and has it well up and kind of tries to force it out towards this thing to knock it away. And I will use inner power
Okay.
um, to try and blast it as he kind of just pushes this force out towards the thing.
So you started blasting.
Ooh, yeah.
So you kind of unleash some of those hands actually that are grabbing you. They spring forward and they start grabbing onto this thing and pulling it kind of backwards and down as well. And it's just starting to kind of fling those chains out, just trying to whip these hands away as they're pulling it back as you're getting deeper and deeper. And soon it's just kind of the upper part of your chest and your head that's left as these chains are being whipped around. And why don't you make me an... I want you to make me an avoid harm as this
Uh-oh.
thing is just sawing in.
Don't go for my weaknesses like that. Yeah, and he kind of tries to dip down, almost trying to speed the stuff up, but the goop in the hands hold him pretty tight. He's not able to move with any kind of dexterity at the very least.
Make me an endure injury roll with just a -1.
-1. Oof. Hey.
Oh, you,
Ooh. Oh yeah, you
as,
pick one. Uh-oh.
yeah, as you're pulled under, you feel kind of the ichor just enter your mouth, and it's just vile and disgusting as it does. And you're pulled under, finally, and you feel it kind of almost like just fill every orifice. Then you, like your ears, your nose, into your eyes, and into your mouth eventually. And it just feels like it's filling up your lungs. It's like it's almost impossible to breathe. You feel like you're choking. You're being drowned on this. You can barely move, barely react. And after what feels like quite a long time, minutes, if not hours, give me one moment.
I feel like you should probably make another keep together. I mean, the other shit aside, he did just like drink fucking tar and stuff and felt like he was drowning in tar at the very least.
Yeah, why do you make me keep it together?
Ugh. God, just imagine that sensation. Ugh,
Disgusting, right?
that's terrible.
So you
Oh,
get to
great.
choose one of those negatives.
Ooh, oh, I mean, shit. Oh man, that's actually a really good one. Um, so if I were to become obsessed, would that be with my terrible creature thing? The
You're already pretty obsessed with him.
okay, that wouldn't quite fit then, because he's thinking like, oh, what the fuck is this like that has allowed me to like go through this stuff and go somewhere
Actually,
else, presumably, but
why don't you do that? Yeah.
become
Yeah.
obsessed. I feel
Yeah,
like
become
that fits with this whole
obsessed.
thing, and he has his obsessions and everything. Um,
What do you have on you right now?
let's see. Well, his phone, of course, which he's copied like all the book and all that kind of stuff onto.
Mhm.
He's probably got like a pocket case full of blunts. Uh, let me see what else. His sunglasses, of course, that he's had forever, and yeah, kind of like general stuff because he doesn't have a car, so he doesn't have car keys. So it's pretty much his wallet, his phone, which has like all this extra info stored on it, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I
There's
mean, and then
one
like
other
general like
thing.
little daily kind of shit.
There's one thing that you did not take into account, which is fine.
Oh,
Because you eventually wake up
oh yeah, you're right.
in what seems to be a very decrepit museum of sorts. You wake up on the floor, sprawled out. You've still got some of the Icarus liquid on you. It's clinging to your skin, sticking to you, and you actually vomit some of it up, and it just feels like it's sticking to the inside of your throat and your lungs. You're just trying to get as much of it out as you can.
Ugh. Yeah, it's terrible. He's hacking and coughing and trying his best to urge the stuff out from himself to little avail. As that kind of sensation of it still kind of being stuck in his lungs and his throat and like within the corner of his eyes. Every time he wipes, there's this little bit of dark ichor.
You're hacking. You're kind of on your knees, just trying to get it up. You feel a very gentle hand on your shoulder, and you kind of look up and you see what looks like a very feminine outfit, very proper, all black, well pressed, expensive clothing. You look up and you see a fairly refined but a bit of a wrinkled face as you see an older woman.
Coughs again, like hacking up the last little bit that he can manage to as he looks to her. Sorry, ma'am. He looks around, kind of trying to gather surroundings. Who are you?
Hmm. I'm Professor Hopkins. Professor Emil Hopkins, to be exact.
Um, he kind of looks a bit confused. Okay, Miss Emma, uh, where am I?
Just Professor Hopkins, please. You're in my, for now, my study, my museum of curiosities.
Oh, okay. I mean, he's still kind of haggled, or not haggled. That's not the word.
Haggard?
Yeah.
Hagrid?
You know what I mean. Um, yeah. He's not feeling great from the whole thing as he kind of looks around a bit confused. And I'm sorry. Um, he kind of looks her over, trying to almost kind of gauge her and um. uh, Did I believe I learned the name of like my demon or whatever it is at some point, right?
Hmm.
I believe I
I don't remember.
don't don't
I
remember
don't know
either.
if you did.
I might not have. Okay, yeah. So I'll assume not. Um, as he do you should I know you?
She shakes her head, but she gets up and she motions for you to follow. Come with me.
Okay, yeah. And he kind of stands a bit weakly, kind of rubbing the pained wrist. I assume that's still not looking great.
It's still like it seems like it's not bleeding because the ichor is actually sticking and
Ah,
holding on to the
makes
wound.
sense. So it's kind of a flesh wound essentially for now.
Mhm.
As he kind of
Go ahead.
he follows after.
She very quickly leads you over to the center of this room, and you see in the center, over top of the rubble, it seems embedded to the floor, very roughly cut out. You see kind of what looks like this jade green pool of water. It's kind of gently lapping at the sides, almost as if something is... Because you don't feel any wind coming in here. So it's hard to tell why there'd be waves, but she points down into it and she just says, "Is that your friend?"
He looks confused almost, and he's still looking at her, and he kind of, what do you mean? He kind of looks down into the pool.
And just to make sure, hey Ghost, you there?
I am.
As you look down, Emil, you suddenly see Terry's face kind of pop up. It's not coming out of the water, but it's almost a reflection down into it.
Like a looking
And
glass type thing, yeah.
yeah, and you see that his head is being shoved underwater, which we're gonna do a pan and a pan. As you're basically seeing, it looks like his head is being just shoved underwater over and over. And Terry, you had been knocked out by this man. And when you awoke, you found yourself without a jacket, without a shirt. You found yourself very uncomfortably bound from behind. As you find yourself in the bathroom, and you hear the door close behind you, bathroom door. And the man grabs you by the back of the hair and just says, "This could have been a lot easier, but this is definitely more fun."
Yeah, you could have fucking let me go and been about your business.
And with that, he shoves your head into the half-full tub of just this dirty ass fucking water. Just... He shoves it under once for about 10 seconds. Then pulls your face back up. Still gonna be sassy there.
How bound am I?
Your hands are pretty tightly bound behind you, and then if you want to try to escape, you can't.
I'll bide my time for now. I'm afraid that's a character flaw. You have to deal with it.
And he chuckles, and with that, he actually takes your shirt that he had taken off you, and he wraps it around your face, and he shoves your head back under the water. And Emil, you
Yes.
see Terry's, well, you see a face come back up, but it's just covered in cloth. The moment.
Yeah, Emil's confused, surprised. What the hell is going on? What's happening?
You should get him.
How? I mean, I don't even know where I am.
Just pick him up.
He's like, kind of looks down to the pool. Just like he kind of points to it, as if to state the obvious of what she's implying.
She nods her head.
All right. Well, first I go to Inferno, now I'm in some museum, and now I'm grabbing a dude out of a pool of water. Okay, it's gonna be fine. And he kind of kneels down onto either knee and reaches through with that kind of right hand, the ichor still kind of tendrilled around it, sticking the wound shut as he reaches out to kind of grab at Terry from the back, and kind of as if he were to yank him through from his collar almost, but in this case presumably going from the bound hands behind him.
So Terry, this is the second time that he's shoving your head in water, but he's really just leaving you underneath there, just forcing your head down. And you're feeling just your lungs. He doesn't let you up for any air. How is Terry feeling in this moment? As he's effectively drowning you.
Like absolute shit. Drowning's not good. I would probably start flailing around, trying to get free.
You try to get free, and you feel something else actually pull your hands. Been bound. Pulls roughly, pulls up, and very quickly you find yourself going forward deeper into the tub, like there's no bottom, almost as if you're being pulled through something. And let me grab you. So Emil, you grab onto Terry, pulling him through, and you can fling him up and onto the side of this pool, onto the floor, this marbled floor. And he's still bound. He's got his shirt over top of his head. And Terry, you still can't really breathe as you're being basically waterboarded.
Yeah, I mean, you just hear Terry choking.
Yeah, Emil realizing this, he's kind of fallen back as he kind of, the weight of you being yanked out of the thing sent him kind of rolling almost, as he kind of scrabbles over to you and kind of rips the shirt off from your face, throwing it back into the pool without a thought, really. As he kind of looks you over and tries to like clear your face of water and kind of pick you up and kind of get you kind of knelt towards him, and kind of slams the heel of his left palm into your back as if to knock the water free. You okay, man? Hey. Stay with me, man. Come on.
Yeah, Terry coughs. What the fuck? What the fuck are you doing here? And he looks around. What the fuck is this?
Welcome to the museum.
Yeah, welcome to the museum, man. What the fuck was happening to you? Are you okay, dude? I mean, you're not okay, but like...
No, I'm
Holy
not
shit.
fucking okay. He has my fucking camera. And he looks back in the water. Fuck! Shit. God damn it. He stands up and...
What happened, man? And he's trying to undo the bindings that are on stuff. How the hell did you end up, like, in a bathtub, like, getting drowned or something?
I was trying to figure out who killed Jessie, and that prick apparently lives in her old apartment. I don't know what he's into, but probably not some good shit.
What? So he, like, fucking grabbed you and started drowning you?
He hit me in the fucking head with a baseball bat.
Oh, fuck. He kind of looks to the professor. Professor, sorry, what was it? I'm kind of rattled a bit here, to be honest.
Hopkins.
Hopkins, yeah. Professor, are we gonna be safe here, or?
Depends. She paces around and kind of take a moment just to look at the area. You see there's a bit of this grayish light streaming in from the windows. Everything looks old, broken. It seems to be one of the pillars collapsed in the center of the room. There's cracks and chips, everything. You see some of the lights still work. You also see there's occasionally small braziers and torches line the area. She looks to you, Emil. She paces back. She pulls something out of her pocket. She has something hanging off her middle finger. It's long. You see there in her hands is that small apothecary bottle that had rested around your neck for the longest time.
And he kind of looks surprised as he kind of looks at his own neck and touches it and realizes, oh shit. I don't, would you mind, kind of reaches a hand out almost.
She kind of snaps it back into her own. You see a small smile form in the corners of her. Not yet.
I mean, that implies you don't mind giving it back, but like, why? Why'd you take it? I mean, it's important to me. It's from my family.
There are many important things in the museum that I've curated. This may be being one of them, but I will give it back to you. But first, who are you?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Kind of like starts kind of regaining his composure a bit as he's kind of assessing the situation, and Terry's not drowning anymore, and he's not in a pile of goop drowning himself anymore. I really should have. I'm Emil Henry. Good to meet you, Professor Hopkins. This is Terry.
And Terry, you're able to shrug off the bindings eventually.
Is he naked at this point?
He's shirtless. He's
Okay.
got pants on.
That's better.
Actually.
Lucky boy.
Indeed.
do you... I mean, I don't know how to put this, but I mean, we're clearly somewhere else, and that was definitely like some kind of magic or something. So, I assume you might know my... Well, I guess I have to call him a friend at this point. And he kind of taps at his hand, his palm.
She frowns slightly, shakes her head. No, no. Maybe in the past, maybe in the future, I would know him. Not quite sure at this point.
Oh,
But
um, yeah, Emil kind of tries to wrap his head around that, kind of the implications of what she's saying.
she gestures around. Well, why don't you have a look around?
Hey, wait, I mean, you would just look around the museum?
Yes.
He kind of glances about a bit, looking for anything that sticks out without moving just yet.
You can see there's like places that kind of offshoot into different sections of the museum, but there's nothing besides that pool and this.
And he kind of looks to her again. I assume you got like a reason for having us do that, yeah?
Yes. You obviously have come here either in need of something or need to find something.
Yeah, I kinda accidentally walked into Inferno, and there was... What did his bound being call it?
Razide.
Chain link? A what?
Razide.
A Razide, he called it there. It was trying to get me. I just barely made it out. So...
Bother. I do hate when one stumbles into Inferno. Not a pleasant... I spent
it was
quite a
pretty
long
gross.
time. Spent quite a long time there myself, actually. Some of my compatriots and I.
Really?
Yes.
Is it normal to make it out okay, or...?
Oh, no one makes it out okay. No.
That makes sense. It is basically hell, I guess. Okay,
It's your concept of hell, yes.
Yeah, I get you. So I guess, do you mean I might end up going back? Or, like I'm just here for now and, like, I'm here to get something, or...?
Well, you must be here to get something if you are here. What is it that you are looking for?
I guess, like, I was looking for a way back out of Inferno.
Yes, but what is it you're looking for?
And Emil kind of thinks on that for a moment. Oh, well... Shit, I mean, like... So many things. I mean, where do you even start? I mean, like, I just recently learned there's magic, and, like, I have magic, and, like, that pool pulled Terry from, like, a whole other place. And you mentioned, right, that you, like, the future and the past, you might not know him yet, or you might have already known him for long. Like, that's some Doctor Who stuff. Like, I mean, like, what don't I need to know? That's it. I need to know stuff. I need to know about magic.
She nods and looks to Terry. What about you?
I'm just trying to figure out the people who, one, killed a girl that I had a kid with, and two, find the people who took my kid. And hopefully then she stops visiting me, and fucking up my face. And he gestures to his nose.
Yeah, Emil looks at him and kind of like gets a bit closer. Oh shit, man, I'm sorry. Fuck. Hey, I wish he'd been there. I could have helped.
Doesn't matter, I'm out of it now, but he'll be seeing me again. And he looks around, scratches the back of his neck nervously.
I actually, well, I got a deal to uphold, man, and honestly, that guy seems like good enough. So, I might go help you with that, if that's okay.
You gonna help me break into his house and get my stuff back?
Yeah, that works. I mean,
don't think
Terry,
we should be
like,
talking about robbery in present company. No offense, and he kind of looks to Dr. Hopkins. But sure, man, you can tag along if you want.
I mean, he kind of looks to Hopkins. I mean, you know about, like, all kinds of stuff if I'm, like, getting the right read of you, right?
Oh, yes. I know. Quite a few things, indeed. Your talk of... I'm assuming murder does not bother me.
Yeah, and Emil kind of pulls back a little bit, almost, like, shyly at that. He kind of looks to Terry. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, you're like a good friend and everything. We've been through a lot of shit. Whatever I'm, like, connected to and stuff, like, it doesn't come from... He wants me to, like, kill somebody. So, I mean, honestly, I was, like, looking through alleys for someone who was gonna try and mug me earlier, so this seems, like, much better. He seems like a bit of an asshole.
And Terry just kind of exhales and shakes his head. Look, man, whatever you gotta do.
I'm sorry, man. This is, like, not the time for it. You've been through some fucking shit, haven't you?
We all have. It's whatever at this point. I don't care about the guy. I'm pretty sure that was only gonna get worse. So.
I mean, he kind of looks towards the pool, like, just thinking back to what he saw the guy doing already, and the fact that apparently he knocked him out with a baseball bat. He's like, yeah, it's... Well, I mean, if I gotta, like, do some weird fucking blood sacrifice, that's the type of person I'd like to do it to, huh?
Whatever you gotta do, man. That's... I just don't want to see it.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm just, you know... He kind of looks a bit almost dejected, like, shameful almost, like... I'm sorry, man, it's just... I mean, I owe it, and I don't know if there's... I don't think... He kind of looks to you, almost fearful, like guilty. I don't know if anyone would be safe if I didn't follow through. I mean, you remember back with the doctor's place, right? When he kind of motions to his right arm. When everything went crazy and I, like, veered and killed those guys? Like...
We killed those guys, Emil. Or we set them up to be killed. We killed the doc. We've killed a couple of people. So if you gotta kill some guy who hit me with a baseball bat and was probably gonna abuse me in some other ways, got the impression, we've all seen and done shit now, Emil. I don't think we're really bound by what's good and what's right as much as we used to be. We're playing with a different set of rules now.
Emil looks almost afraid as you kind of, like, explain that, and, like, very concerned. I don't know. Like, there's some stuff you gotta hold to as long as you can, right? And I'm like, I'm in it fucking deep, man. And, like, I have to try and uphold something, right? So if I'm gonna have to do this kind of shit, I gotta do it right. It's fucked up. I'm just projecting my own sense of justice, I guess. Like, still, I don't want to, like, take that last step quite yet.
I mean, at some point you're going to be pushed to something, and it's going to be over whatever you're feeling versus whatever answers you want. So,
Yeah.
I'm taking the leap because I want this shit sorted out.
Emil kind of nods, almost sorrowfully, and yeah, all right, well, he kind of helps you kind of up proper, assuming we're still like down. Makes sure your bindings are all clear. And so then, Miss Hopkins, Professor, sorry,
Yes.
I should just. He kind of motions towards the halls and vastness of the place. Really, I mean.
Yes. Both of you. Sure that's something that the two of you will find that you might find useful.
Okay. You he kind of motions to where she stored the vial. You will give that back, right?
Yes, of course.
He kind of thinks a moment. Thank you. And before we go, like, looking for stuff, I mean, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but, like, I gotta be honest, curiosity gets the best of me sometimes, and, is this, he kind of motions to her herself, is this your, like, this is what you really look like, or?
No. You... This, I feel like an older woman is much more comforting. Unless you wish to see what the curator looks like.
He kind
I
of
think this is fine, and Terry just imagines that they've seen some things that weren't fine before.
I mean, yeah.
Emil,
Yeah.
you have a lovely
I know.
obsession.
I know. He's like, you're right. You're right. But I feel like I walked through Inferno and come out, and like I feel like I kind of saw like the best side of it. So I feel like I need to like, I don't know, maybe like numb myself to it a bit. I don't. If it's bad, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, Professor. But if it's okay with you, I mean, I can look. I don't think Terry wants to.
If you're gonna, like, change into whatever you look like, can you produce a cigarette out of thin air by chance before you do that?
I mean, Terry, I can just. Yeah, go ahead.
She does take a cigarette out for you. She hands it over and passes over a lighter.
Oh, thank fuck for that, and he grabs it and lights a cigarette
And Emil kind of sighs. At the same time as he sighs, I mean, he doesn't look like he's disappointed anymore. He looks that kind of brimming with curiosity and kind of a little bit of anxiety, but he just can't help himself as he's like, all right, I mean, if you don't mind, and I'll use another use of my bound to see the true form of a creature or location, as he gazes at Professor Hopkins.
Sure. And as you do so, you see her visage just start to twist. Her hair starts to get longer, her body elongating, the legs extending. And you hear this, both of you can see this kind of cracking in her chest as it starts to separate. And you see, kind of looks like fangs that are appearing as her ribs just separate out, and you can see the massive flesh inside. And within her, you see, kind of near where the stomach would be, these two small arms have come out. And those are the arms, the hands that are holding your the vial. And finally, as twists neck, it's just covered in kind of fur, almost feathers. And you see this.
Oh my. Ooh.
Make it a bit bigger.
Should I make it keep it together?
Why don't you both make me keep it
Oh, I'm
together?
sorry. I thought it would be
Fuck
just
off.
Emil.
No,
I
it's
thought it would be
both of
just Emil.
you.
He didn't mean
Good.
to. I'm sorry. Also, I definitely learned some stuff about some shit, so I also added the one from if that's suitable.
That's fine.
Haunted at a later date for me.
9. Oh yeah, he's
Oh, oh
he is
boy.
just like so fucking ready for this, and it gets him a bit more than he expected.
I gotta say you
Mhm.
suffer a life-changing trauma. As basically you've traveled like to 2 different places in one night. You're planning on killing someone that you
Yeah, it's
spoken
kind of
to
all
Terry about. It's all
culminating.
your morals are just completely twisted. You remember how you used to be, no violence. And ever since just everything has happened, especially to Vivian, just it's just kind of snapping for you. Things are kind of snapping away.
Yeah, he watches as this thing kind of reveals its truest form, and as he kind of sees it, it's like this wretched revelation kind of echoes over him. This kind of questioning driven to this peak, right, of, oh man, I've literally asked for this. I have come here to this place from hell. I have done terrible things. I'm about to do terrible things. And then there comes one more kind of question that really seals the deal of, like, how much of this is me anymore? Like, is this really just my curiosity anymore? Is this thing, he kind of almost looks to his hand, kind of that terror kind of beginning to etch into him? Or is this kind of playing on me more than I expected, as he kind of, his hands are shaking a little bit as he kind of withdraws, and he kind of just nods a few times really quickly. Yeah, Mom, thanks. He kind of not quite maintaining eye contact with the curator.
You see its arms hang down to its sides. It's the long arms that it has, but the ones that are inside, you actually see it's almost like little tiny toddler baby arms that are coming out of it. And you see in the center where those arms are, you see a little face pop out and look to you, Terry. And it motions as it turns away from the two of you. You see the hands motion for you to follow it.
And Emil kind of stands there for just a moment before kind of stepping a bit heavily after the thing.
Yeah, and Terry was a bit taken aback by it, but perhaps not so much as Emil. He looks at it mouth agape for a minute, blinks a couple times, just really slow, lost, and then takes another drag from the cigarette, shaking his head at Emil.
Kind of, he notices you kind of looking at him and shaking your head, and I'm sorry, man. Curiosity killed the cat and all that.
Fuck, dude, how many lives do you have left, Emil?
He kind of laughs quite loudly at that. I don't fucking know, man. But it's kind of starting to worry me. Yeah, I'm getting low on. Oh fuck, dude. Let's yeah, let's just. He kind of catches himself a bit as he follows after again, going almost eerily silent. Nothing really quite visible of his expression behind the sunglasses and the rather plastered on, not quite smile. It's kind of that straight line in between a smile and a frown. And he's forcing over himself almost.
Terry, are you following as well?
No reason not to.
So it leads you... Ooh, I'm gonna bring you over. So it brings you down a side passage into a hall. You can see numerous different paintings on the wall of different quality. Some of them, they look visually very appealing, but you kind of look at them harder as you pass by. And it's just this depiction of violence and carnage. And as you're passing by each of these paintings, Emily, you look to the left side, Terry, you look to the... There's just something that's familiar about each of these scenes. You see each of these scenes as kind of a different part of history, almost. You see there's ones from Roman times, Emily. You see someone who looks to be fanning a pharaoh, and it's almost like one of those kind of stories as the painting moves on. You see on the one side it starts with kind of the fanning of the pharaoh, eventually moves to being led down this pathway, and then eventually being cast into this pit just full of bodies, kind of being kicked in and left to death. Terry, you see ones where it's a child who sits there with a small bowl in their hands, looking to be begging. Almost looks like it's during the French Revolution. You can see a number of people who are passing by in this painting. You see the child going from place to place, looks to be asking for money and such. And then, still looking as though a child, you see it kind of half of its body on one side of the dirt road, half of it on the other. It has been trampled by a horse and carriage, just run over and ignored. And the creature looks back at the both of you. You kind of hear the hissing words coming. Be careful not to stare too long, else you get lost in the past.
I'm all kind of... It looks a bit concerned at that. Okay, yeah. As he kind of glances from picture to picture and kind of tries to, despite his curiosity, kind of keep his eyes down the path.
Sounds like you're rolling again, bud.
I do want you both to make me see through the illusion checks. As you're looking at these.
Ooh, a big one.
Oh no!
Ooh, he rolled low.
Oh.
They
Emil,
both rolled low.
Emil, I would, ooh, it's not gonna be that bad. You both, as you continue to look, like you don't look away, and eventually you both kind of stop just to stare. And why it feels so familiar, and kind of look at the paintings, and they seem to be changing before your eyes to reflect almost different time periods as they go along, almost like looking kind of at this hand-drawn movie. the kind of these life and death cycles, these people over and over, and you feel almost a kinship to them. Like you remember, like you were there, like you've experienced this before, and there's just this pull, both of you, just to keep watching and watching as it just goes on, different cycles, different people, different creatures. It's mostly humans. It's really all humans. But it goes from caveman style people to Terry or some of important dilettante at some point. Both of you are relating to these, like you've experienced these before.
Does Emil have the sense that he can't help, like, is it kind of simple curiosity anymore, or does he feel almost bound to continue watching?
Both of you are kind of bound to continue watching, but...
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is the most appropriate if it is some sort of magic or something, or if Emil gets that sensation, and I'm gonna try and use bound, my last use of it, to disperse magic targeting him, as he kind of tries to... There's this kind of tinge in the back of his mind of this doesn't make sense, this isn't quite right, he's not really learning anything, just feels familiar, this almost painful sense of deja vu as he kind of tries to push it away and presuming it is some kind of magic, disperse it.
As you do that, both of you are kind of unlocked from looking at these paintings, and now all you see is just your reflections. Looks to be mirrors.
Emil kind of looks over them and looks back to the other ones and, oh man, it's trippy. And there's this kind of look on his face as he kind of shakes his head a bit and goes to continue after the professor, the curator, whichever, as he kind of thinks, man, it's like looking into, like, he kind of turns to Terry as he starts walking again. You know, like how they talk about like DNA memory and stuff like that, like how like all this stuff that's ever like happened in the past is like stored in their DNA and stuff. And
Yeah, like how we're afraid of the dark because, you know, cavemen scared of the dark.
Yeah, shit, dude, like that, but like, kind of tosses a thumb up towards the mirrors. I wonder if that was like, kind of like what that was, like, something like that. Although I don't know much about if any of that's legit anymore, which is kind of fucked up.
You hear the curator chime in. It's not quite just DNA, it's the very fabric of what makes you, you. The souls that are bound to you have lived these lives over and over and over again. What you see is, was, and will be you.
Oh. That's what you meant with the whole thing you mentioned earlier about you're not sure if you knew him yet or if you already did. I see. Wow. Well, so, he kind of looks to Terry. At least we kind of, like, I don't know, got, like, reincarnation to look forward to. It's better than nothing, right?
Well, being what we're in right now, us getting to that point probably wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and presumably add thirst for knowledge again.
Yeah.
This is like the fucking treasure trove.
Treasure. Yeah.
As he kind of feels a little bit better after that whole, like, slightly, vaguely twisted yet happy revelation.
Yeah. Again, chimes in. You're the ones that hold you. They are the ones who wish for reincarnation of you. If you wish for reincarnation, you just perpetuate your own imprisonment.
Emil kind of tilts his head a bit. Imprisonment. I feel like I heard something like that before.
Yes, well, humans were once divine beings. Many,
Right.
many eons ago.
You mean like gods?
Yes,
Like,
in their own right, you were.
oh shit. Yes, wow.
You've lost it, though. It has been taken, dispersed, hidden. It still remains in slivers inside each and every one of you, but hardly any of you can access it. Pushed to the brink when you try to the outskirts of society. For the farther away from the comforts you get, the closer to your divinity that you're allowed to obtain.
Yeah.
To follow the rules it's what your jailers want. To follow the laws, they're arbitrary. All of it is arbitrary.
Yeah, Emil kind of, again, beneath the sunglasses, eyes are wide, so like, is that why I'm like, so like, crazy curious all the time? Like I can't help myself, like, or is
Yes,
that just me?
curiosity is good. Complacency is not.
Oh, I guess it makes sense, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool.
Nice.
And
Go ahead.
he kind of smiles to himself a bit, like, okay, it's not as fucked as I thought, then, okay, cool.
And eventually it leads you to a room that you kind of peer into, and as you're approaching you hear what sounds like kind of a vinyl as it's spinning, and it sounds like the same song on a 5-second loop almost, and it just keeps looping the same few lyrics. And then you hear what almost this explosion of kind of chunks of flesh, and eventually go by what looks like kind of an enclosed area behind a screen, or behind glass. You look inside and you see a very antiquated scene. You see, it looks like a man, and every 5 seconds start, you see there's a clock that ticks for 5 seconds, and every 5 seconds it resets back to the top. Music playing again for that 5 second loop. You see the man every time gets up from his seat. He screams as he runs into the corner of the room. The very end of that 5 seconds, you hear that kind of bloody explosion, flesh that ticks back to one, and he's back in his seat. And it just happens over and over and over again as he runs, as the music plays. Curator just keeps walking and looks back. There's a handheld version of that, but as long as you crank the handle enough, you can replay certain times, view into past or present. But it must remain cranked for long enough so you can reach it again to pause the music, so you may escape the loop.
Wow.
Looks to Terry. You might want this.
Yeah, Terry nods. And it could come in handy.
It's there's a pillar that's nearby where you hear the repeated music. There's a small music box. It sits there. Picks up the music box, and it's small enough to kind of fit inside a jacket, one that you don't have. And it hands you this music box. Now, keep this safe. Don't lose it. I will know if you lose it.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Good. Good. Looks to Emil. You
Oh.
always curious, always searching. And it what's the music?
It left.
Oh, time to get more. Let's go. Roll 20, fuck it. Time. There you go. As it walks down the hallway, there's what looks like a small, almost a pocket watch that it takes up into its little baby hands that it has in its chest. And extends it out towards you, Emil.
Oh, thank you. Kind of reaches out and accepts it.
Ooh.
Groovy decided to come back.
Hey. Perfect. You look at the watch, or the closed, what looks like a watch. Do you open?
Yeah, he presses the little button towards the top of it and pops open, presumably.
You see it's actually a compass.
Oh.
It looks to you and says, use this to find your way along any path. If you're looking for something, follow where the needle points north. Do not stray, for once you start on the path, it is impossible to get off. But if you try, things will come for you.
Emil kind of nods, and then kind of his eyes go wide at the revelation again, and he kind of takes the sunglasses and slides them into his pocket. He's like, looks it over very closely, and like, wait, you mean like anywhere? Like all over, like, I just go, and it takes me there.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is like amazing. This is like, wow. Like even in Inferno.
I don't suggest going there, but yes.
Yeah, I don't plan on doing it again. I mean, this will help. But, man, I feel like this is. I owe you, and like to say the least.
It also hands you back your apothecary bottle and says, if you have further questions, you'll find your way back here. And I will be here.
Thank
I'm
you.
always here. It nods and points back the way you came. Go back to the waters. Step inside. You'll find your way back to where you were.
Emil kind of looks at not sure how to proceed for a moment before he kind of before he kind of gives kind of haphazard bow almost. Thank you so much again. Probably come back again sometime. Maybe just to like talk more about like all the crazy stuff. Thank you. He kind of looks to Terry. Yeah, I guess we best get on. And he puts the necklace back on and kind of looks at it for a moment, kind of gazing it over and thinking about why the curator mentioned it might be so important or anything of the sort.
Terry will put the cigarette in his mouth and then put the handheld device in his pocket. Try to fit it in there as best he can. And he takes a drag from the cigarette. And why exactly did you give us these things?
More interest to see what you do with them.
Yeah, I'm all like goes to himself from. I mean, yeah, curiosity gets the best of us, huh?
Indeed, but if need be, I can be there in desperate times.
Wait, like, really, like, help us out?
Mm. There's always a cost that comes with these things. But yes,
Like what kind of cost?
it depends. I have not decided what I'd like to collect.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you seem pretty, kind of stumbles over his words for a moment, trying to think. I mean, pretty great, really. I mean, you helped us a great deal, and I mean, look at this place. I mean, if there's anything I can help with, yeah, I mean, I don't mind. And I mean, you've already helped us a lot. I feel bad asking for more, though.
Oh, what you will see, what you will experience will add to my... Well, it will be a fine addition to my collection.
I suppose that's fair then.
It nods and gestures again for you to walk back towards the pool.
Yeah, Emil kind of gives him another nod and starts heading that way.
Yeah, Terry will nod with a cigarette in his mouth and start walking back to the pool.
It's the two of you head back to the pool. We are going to call that an evening and close out for the night. On that note. Yay!
We did it!